Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today we're taking a look at my double-size LEGO Arkham Asylum. I took the original Arkham Asylum and a second copy of the set, which I built in a mirror image, and then combined them, as you can see, into one giant building that takes up two separate base plates. I honestly think, as much as I love the Arkham Asylum set the way it comes out of the box, seeing this doubled up, I really don't know how I could go back. I love the way that this looks, and I do want to say a huge shout out to LEGO for sending me this one. This is the one I reviewed early, as well as a second copy which they sent me to make this video. So big shout out to LEGO and the Ambassador Network for making this possible. Now that being said, it did come with some unique challenges, which I want to break down in this video, but the biggest thing here is having this big open courtyard where we can actually display all of the minifigures simultaneously. And at this point, I think I just want to zoom in and start talking about the biggest challenges. So let's move right into Arkham Asylum in my double-sized build and tell you about how you could do it yourself and some of the challenges you might just run into. So naturally, we'll start outside with the front gate. And as I was building it, I was concerned that there wasn't going to be enough of these poles and pieces to be able to build an entire connected gate. And I was sort of right, in the sense that there's not enough to cover this area, but I wanted that to be broken just like the original set with Clayface anyway. But where I really ran into issues are there are not enough 1x2 jumper pieces like we see right there to cover the entire thing. So I had to get really creative, and right here with this gate, I actually kind of hid it. Let me take it out so you can see that there's a 1x2 flat piece here, and then of course that piece there. So by the time we go ahead and put this into the clips and there, it actually can't move. You know, it's just as sturdy as the other ones, but it was a nice little way to cheat, because again, the challenge here is to build this double size without adding any pieces from outside the set. Of course, the gates to Arkham can open up, and we have a full courtyard here, which is where I've elected to put the majority of the minifigures as they're breaking out, and you can see this guard is just freaking out like, oh man, I am so losing my job. But we've got Catwoman scaling the wall here, Robin jumping into battle, Batman, Batwing, and Batwoman flying into battle too from above, and overall, I absolutely love the action scene in the courtyard out front. Now, the right side of the set is the official set. Very minimal changes have been made there, except when we get to the middle, as I merged the two sets. In the left one, I built using an actual PDF flip of the original. So I just dumped out the pieces bag by bag and built it with the PDF reversed, so that when it all came together, it was just a mirror image, which gives us the watchtower on the opposite side here, which I actually really like. You know, this is a high security prison. There should be watchtowers on both sides. Of course, we still have that pipe from the other side that's built here. Might as well leave it there, but it does get hidden into the wall a little bit better here, as where over here, it's actually where Clayface broke out. Now, as we continue around the build, I want to talk about the sides, because personally, I like my buildings to be complete, and if there's going to be a hole in the wall, I prefer for that hole to be closable. Well, given the amount of bricks in this set, that wasn't possible, but given the amount of bricks, I was able to actually close off this side, which was broken out. Again, you know, we could see the villains there, and honestly, I just kind of forgot about this wall piece here. It does help let some light in when we have the roof off, so that does help, but in a perfect world, I would have liked to close that off, because on the opposite side, it is also open over here as well. Just again, a mirror image. Now, we'll just finish talking about the outside before we officially move inside. Of course, can't add any pieces from other sets, so I did go ahead and use a lot of the same stickers. I guess you could go ahead and flip these around and move them just so that they look a little different and they're not like complete mirror images, but still, you get the general idea. You could mix and match those however you wish. If you really wanted, you could put stickers from other parts of the set, but, you know, I just left them as is. Now, remember, although we are on the flip side, this is the original set over here. The same functionalities still work with the trash can and this power box being able to open the doors on the inside like we'll see momentarily. And I was able to get those same functionalities on this side as well. Of course, just mirroring the build. And now we'll go ahead and take the roof off and start, you know, going into the set. Now, when it comes to the roof, I genuinely did consider trying to merge them and build them into one big piece, but I actually kind of like them being able to, you know, have these little points here, and so both roof pieces are just mirrored builds of one another and lift off independently. So, you know, if you just wanted to have one roof on or whatever, you could, but I do think it works better to have these be able to be removed, and I'll explain why as we get into the top floor here. So this entire top floor is now connected by this 4-stud area here. And if we lift this up, you can see, again, the entire thing is one big piece. And it is very structurally sound, but I feel like it's better on the floors than it would be with the roof. So again, that's why I chose that. Now, sticking over here to the right side, I kept everything largely the same, like Harley Quinn's office over here. All the Easter eggs, if you want to see the breakdown of that, you can check out the official video. But I kept everything over here the same. Now, as we get into the main prison cell area, we have 2 cells right here, and 2 cells on the left. Again, those are mirrored, but the middle one, I had to get creative because there's not enough wall space to build here to keep these as separate. So in honor of Poison Ivy being my favorite minifigure in the set, she has earned herself the biggest cell. Now, I also like this because, she has all her plant life that we can fill out here, and I was able to use these bars to go ahead and fill in wall space here. So I like that a lot, and I also like the fact that maybe Arkham is kind of working with her to study her powers, so they're giving her more space. I just thought she was definitely the best candidate in the set to have her own largest cell here. And of course, like I said, we can move this power box, and it actually will open all the cell doors, just like the original. The beds still flip up. Nothing changed there. We just have all of these extra cells up top that look great. Now, outside, you can see that I got a little creative and built a third window in the middle to take up this space as we connected everything there. I love the way it all connects, and it just looks so seamless. Like, honestly, this kind of looks like the way the set coulda, shoulda, woulda been designed. Of course, I kept the Angel regular on this side, whereas on the other side, it's been defaced by the Joker, so I like that quite a bit. And as we move into the center here, it is a little tricky to see because this hallway is so narrow. But I was able to move the ladder to the center because, of course, if you remember in the original set, the wall would have been right here and the ladder would have been on this inside. So to pay homage to the proportions of the original set, I kept the ladder here. So when I remove this floor, you'll be able to see the ladder on the ground floor. And as we move over to this side, I didn't want Harley Quinn to have 2 different offices, so I made this more of like a study office. I put something different on the computer screen there, like there isn't even a computer in Harley's office, for example. And I put Hugo Strange's doctorate on the wall, so maybe this is just Hugo's office. And I built this little shelf over here because I had to figure out a way to creatively give him a different color carpet because there are not a lot of pieces that would actually fill that out. And as you'll see, I used a lot of those sand greenish pieces on the floor when we get down there. But over here, a lot of this is largely the same, like the watchtower and everything. So a lot of this part is actually mirrored to the other side pretty much perfectly. But I did want to have a different office here to make it feel more lived in and like more people work at Arkham than just Harley and Quinzel. Now for the moment of truth, we'll go ahead and lift the second floor off entirely. And as you can see, it's one sturdy piece that lifts off, and now it takes us down to the ground floor. So again, from the original set, I kept pretty much everything on the interior the same, but I did build out this wall, so it's now a full wall instead of having a hole there. And of course, the maximum security door still opens up, but one thing I did is I used all of the extra sand green pieces there to go ahead and finish out the floor, because in the original, the floor is all broken up. So here we have a full floor. Speaking of floors, as we move down the corridor here, you can see we have way more jail cells than the original. The original only had 3. Now we have 6, plus all those ones we saw on the top floor up above. Now, again, not much has changed here. The door is still open, and we could get inside. And I left this one open, because in the original, you could see somebody dug their way out with a spoon. But given the piece allotment, I actually also had to leave this part empty on the bottom as well. But I could use some of the leftover pieces to actually build a floor here. So it's not like there's 2 jail cells where people dug their way out. Here, we actually have an open cell as well. I did have to kind of box in this center part here, and I even used the Arkham Asylum vehicle that it came with. So, of course, I have one complete vehicle from the first set, but I needed some of those wall pieces from the second vehicle to build up this structure and make it nice and sound. Now, of course, we have 2 more cells over here. Not much changing other than the fact that they are mirror images of one another, so they're facing opposite directions. But, of course, the bed still flips up, and on top of that, the play feature still works, where we can pull this. Oops, I put that box in the way, but the play feature does still work for the doors to open, which is great. Then as we move down the corridor here, we have, you guessed it, a mirror build on this side, where I used the remaining sand green bricks here to build out the floor, We have another maximum security cell built in there, because let's face it, Arkham has a lot of people that need to be contained. And I just changed up some slight things here with the tables and, you know, what's on the computers and all of that, just so that it doesn't feel like it's literally the same thing twice. And I had enough bricks to be able to go ahead and finish out this wall as well. And I didn't build like this snowman or anything, because again, I didn't want them to be exactly the same the whole way around. And as promised, when we get to the middle here, you can see I just built a third window that seamlessly fits, so that, you know, we can connect the buildings there. And then, of course, we have that ladder, which, as you can imagine, would go up to the top floor and keep that continuity of how the minifigures get from floor 1 to floor 2. Now, back out here to the main courtyard, you can see I got a lot of pieces that I was able to use to connect the base plates, because, of course, they connect right here in the middle, and I was able to build enough that it's very structurally sound that I can pick it up and it doesn't go anywhere. It's very, very solid, and I'm so happy with the way this turned out. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun putting this together. It is an incredible build, and honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. I understand it would cost $600 to do this out of the box, but I did a little minifigure math. The set is too new for any of the figures to have sold on Bricklink, but as of right now, if you added up the tally of all the minifigures, what they're listed for on Bricklink, again, it's not sold prices, but you can almost make back the cost of one set just selling the minifigures, so there's definitely a cost-beneficial way to do this if you were to buy two. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.